Okay, drive and talk for the new MOZA R12 direct drive wheelbase. So I've now had this now for a couple of days installed on the rig. So do understand this is not a full review. It is a first impressions video of what you can expect, and I'll just go over some features and what it's been like in my short time I've used it so far. So something also to know, guys, if you check on the homepage of the channel, I've also published my full review on the same day as this video's come out. And the reason for this is I've received this weeks in advance of the launch date, and I'm not permitted to actually put any content out or talk about this wheelbase until the actual official launch day, or when I'm told by MOZA that I can actually put content out. So do understand, you'll see on the channel there are a few videos for MOZA, for the MOZA R12 already on the channel, all posted on the same day, but I am recording this basically a few weeks ago when I received this. So let's get on the track and I'll give you my first impressions of what it's like. Okay, you know the score, drive and talks, it's Brands Hatch, the Minis, and Autumn Ballista 2. That's how I like to run these drive and talks. So first thing to know is this is a 12 Newton meter direct drive wheelbase. It's the R12, and all of MOZA wheelbases are called R something, and the R number is their torque output rating. So R9, 9 Newton meters, R15, 15 Newton meters. You know the score, guys. So yeah, so very obvious, you know what you're getting here, okay? The MOZA R12 sits in between the MOZA R9 and the MOZA R15 in the actual MOZA product stack, so it kind of fills in that gap. And the other thing which is really interesting about this is the look of this wheelbase. Looks basically like the MOZA R9 version 2, specifically the version 2 of the MOZA R9, as the version 1 is more or less the same, but it does have a slightly different steering column size. Other than that, it's the same look. The actual base itself is exactly the same measurements and dimensions. So if you actually watch my other video, I have put a video out on the channel so you can actually look at that. One thing to know as well, although it looks the same size, this is heavier. This is about 1 kilo heavier than my R9, which certainly would make sense since this is a more powerful motor in here, 12 Newton meters versus 9 Newton meters. But what's kind of fascinating is they were able to basically shove in a stronger motor into the same basically size. And I do like the size of the MOZA R9 and I like the size of the MOZA R12. It's a very compact shape, very easy to work with to get mounted into the sim rig, and it works well for me, particularly since you can see I do have a fairly busy console of peripherals, of displays. Therefore, for me, maximising the available space is important. And the other thing is, because it is, height-wise, it's also quite small, I can get my monitor over the actual wheelbase. Really messed it up, didn't I? I can get it over the wheelbase and nice and close, and my eye line is dead center into my monitor here. So that's perfect. So I really like the format of the MOZA wheelbases, like the R5, the R9 and the R12. It suits me really well, and previous to actually having this mounted on the sim rig, the MOZA R9 was on the sim rig. Even though I do have other wheelbases, I actually really do like the MOZA R9 because it has the right amount of force feedback strength, which I like. It's good detail and also works well with my sim rig, and also have a few different wheel rims as well to run on it, which is also nice. So yeah, I do like the MOZA wheelbases. They suit me very well. And one thing I can tell you, the difference between this, say the 12 and the 9 is, yes, it is substantially more powerful. It's 34% more powerful, and yeah, you can tell the difference. I can tell it's more powerful. The way I set my force feedback, and this is how I set every wheelbase, no matter what. So listen carefully. So in the driver software, I always set the force feedback at 100%. No matter what brand, no matter what model, 100% in the driver software, and then I adjust the force feedback in the game settings. On the MOZA R9, I set it at 90% in Autumn Ballista 2. That's what I liked. It felt good to me, nice and strong. Works perfectly for me. Sort of in the sweet spot of feeling the right amount of resistance from the wheel, the weight of the wheel, and the detail. So it's good. So it's kind of the sweet spot, 90%. And really, I didn't want to run it any higher than that anyway, because you know, you can hit force feedback clipping, which is obviously a terrible thing. But luckily at 90%, it feels absolutely perfect to me. With the MOZA R12, I'm setting the force feedback in this car at 65%. So on the MOZA R9, it would have been 90%. Here I'm setting it at 65% in the game. And essentially what I'm looking for when I'm setting the force feedback levels is for the wheel to have a certain amount of weight. And that's something I'll try to achieve in every game, in every wheel. I want the weight to feel, when I'm turning into corners, that kind of resistance, that build up of strength, to have a certain, you know, feel to it. So I'm looking for consistency across different wheelbases and indeed across different games as well, because that's what's comfortable to me. So at 65%, this feels like what the MOZA R9 is at 90%. So hopefully that gives you some sort of understanding of sort of baselines there. As for the force feedback from the R12, it's very similar to the R9 with the quality of detail. In fact, I kind of think actually that maybe this one does have a little bit more. It brings out a little bit more depth. There might be a little bit more nuance with this one over the R9. I'm not 100% sure, but if it's not, it's dead close. It is very close. But you know, that's to say the force feedback is very good. There's a lot of sensation coming from the track. Autumn Blister 2 is a good actually test for this because it does have a lot of force feedback elements coming through. I can feel the track, surface texture, I can feel the roughness of it. If you're on a smooth track, it actually comes through the, you know, the wheel feels smooth. If you've got a slightly rougher track, this is a slightly rough track, I can feel that as well through the wheel. And also the small undulations. If you've got like a very flat track, then it'll, again, force feedback will be very smooth. But here what we have is a track which is full of little kind of undulations, small bumps, and I can feel that really clearly. And you can just see the wheel is kind of just doing its own thing there, because the car is basically, the suspension is going up and down, and it's just basically riding all these tiny little bumps, all these little flaws on the track, and this comes through really well. There's a good progressive feel of weight, balance of the car as well. As you turn into corners, you can feel it build up. If you overdo it, you can feel the tyre, the back end slightly slipping, not actually going out, you're not actually losing traction, but you just feel the weight of the car just shifting. And you just know that you're kind of about to lose the back end, and you can make your corrections, and it's very quick, it's very sensitive, so that's very good as well. When I brake hard into corners, I can feel the loading up, the wheel feels stiffer, and sometimes the back end might wiggle a little bit, and again you can feel that through the force feedback. So everything it needs to do, it's doing really well. It's nice and sensitive, it's quick, definitely very low latency, everything feels in time with what the car's doing, and I feel very comfortable and connected with the car. It's really, really good. It's nice and smooth, the wheel feels smooth. The force feedback delivery is sensitive, it's strong. Really can't fault it really, guys. It's a really nice feeling wheel. I've tested this in, of course, Autumn Blister 2 in a few different cars and tracks. Let me just save that, went on the grass. ACC, that was good. Race Room, a game which I normally struggle with some wheelbases, felt actually pretty decent through this one. I was happy with the feeling of it. I'm not a massive fan of the Race Room force feedback, but if you get a good wheelbase that can, you know, bring out the best of it, then it's actually not a bad game, and that felt pretty good to me as well. What else did I try? Well, I had one failure, at least at the moment, was Wreckfest. I could map the wheel, and it had force feedback, but it didn't. I wasn't able to adjust the force feedback strength in the game itself. It basically ran to 100%. And the other weird thing in Wreckfest was, as soon as I went on track, the wheel went 90 degrees in one direction, and I was driving with the wheel kind of on the slants. Now, because I'm using beta drivers, and this wheelbase is effectively still weeks out from being going on sale, at least when I'm making this video, I can certainly understand that the drivers might not be 100%, but overall looking pretty good. Kartcraft felt really good. That's perfect out of the box, and but yeah, BeamNG, that was good as well. I had to go on that. It's the first time I actually played that game. Had a bit of a run on that. That worked out of the box, no problems. So yeah, so far compatibility, as I would expect, is fine. Other than Wreckfest so far, haven't tried any Codemasters games yet. Potentially they might sort of be a bit janky until the proper drivers come out, because I'm using some special beta drivers they sent me, so I can't expect, I can't expect everything. So, but so far feeling fine in AMS2. ACC absolutely great. Need to give it a run in a set course as well. For the main review, which as I said is out now, if you want to watch it, guys, I will test it in a bunch of different games. And I'll go over some of the features in there. So, yeah, I have to say, so far, early impressions is absolutely fantastic. Okay, I'm going to end this one now. I think I've really covered as much as I want to for a first impressions video. But, yeah, impressive. It's very nice. And if I was to give you, my assessment over just my short time using it, I would recommend it. But, don't take that as read. Look at the review, watch my review, which is now out as well, and I'll go into more depth and I'll test it in a bunch of games and see what's what there. But my expectations, quite honestly, is it's going to be a continuation of my enthusiasm from this video, really. So I'm expecting it to be a very good piece of hardware, and I expect it to do very well in the review. But watch a review. This is not a review, so let me just end it on that note. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, happy simming, and bye-bye for now. If you like my content, consider becoming a member to help support the channel. Click on the join button to find out more.